Hey there, welcome to this week's episode of the live Sunday chat with Takia and Nancy.
Yeah.
We are the I Empower Women crew of two. Peace. So today we wanted to talk about beginning, and that can mean different things for different people.
Sure.
So, we know that we're still kind of riding the wave of the pandemic and on the fallout of that, and throughout all of that, though, there have been creatives creating, right? Artists who were artists before the pandemic started were artists within the pandemic, and they just were inspired to create more. Sometimes they we had things come up that we needed to address to allow ourselves to be in alignment with our truth, even when we had outside circumstances, pushing, things from our depths of our souls to the surface that needed to be healed.
Right.
And now, that we're kind of coming out of the actual physical stressors a little bit as the numbers are coming down and things are getting a little bit more normalized as far as communication and entering, and we're getting more adjusted to the new normal of wearing masks in certain spaces and all that kind of thing. But now, now that we have a little breathing room, how about we then turn up the notch on the focus? We level up on our focus on what it is that we intend to create with our lives, right?
I like that.
Yeah, right. So, whatever it is, it might be that you've fallen off on your lifestyle. Like there are things that are missing. You were drinking all the water, you were eating good things, you were in a flow before, and then you got smacked with this external circumstance situation that kind of rocked your world for a while, and your focus shifted. And maybe you're looking down and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? My body does not look like my own anymore. And you want to make some changes. And it's not just about the physicality, right? It's about our external environment, our external kind of presentation is a reflection of our internal environment, right? And current complications, and just to make it rhyme. So that's what I do. Love it.
I love that you
I love
do.
words.
I have to say,
So,
I laughed not because of that it's a funny subject.
yeah.
I laughed because I could totally relate to that.
Yes.
And I even know that I chose to do things that I know were going to cost me in ways that I didn't really want
Right.
to have. Like looking down and going, who is this? This is not who I'm like, what is this? I can't do the things I want to. I don't feel the same way. I don't have the same energy.
Right.
So it's like, oh my gosh, I soothe myself with my most easiest go-to,
Right.
which is all my old stuff. So yeah, it's time.
Bang, bang. You hit the nail right on the head, right? So we're talking about, how we feel. We want to feel better. We want to feel better in our bodies. We want to feel better about our bodies. And we also want to feel good about our lives and who we are and how we're showing up in it.
That's
And
everything.
so what can we do to begin,
Mhm.
right? We can find a place that feels like our sweet spot, the thing that feels good to us to do that would begin to move us in the direction of the things that our hearts desire. So if it's your lifestyle, for example, I speak of that because it's my wheelhouse. It's something I've been doing for years, and it's easy, right? So easy is where we want to begin. We want to begin with easy so that we
Please.
begin to build momentum. If it's too complicated, it'll add to the resistance that we have in beginning in the first place.
Oh my gosh, who listening is like going, oh, absolutely. The more complicated it is, I'm like, I'm out after day 2.
Yes. So let's find something easy. So what we're going to do actually is we're going to have a 5-day jumpstart for your lifestyle, right? So we're going to create an environment where you are led through a very simple process where you're able to take steps toward regaining a foundation of a lifestyle that really serves you from the soul outward, right? And it begins with those simple things that you know that you should be doing, quote, air quotes, but you're not, right? And if you understand, how life works, we know we don't live life all at one time,
Oh,
even though in the truth of it is that everything's happening simultaneously, but that's another plane of existence that we're talking about. We're just talking about how we experience life is one step at a time. So that's the truth of our experience, is that we experience it one moment, 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour at a time. And so it's best to enter from that point because it's the path of least resistance to begin.
right.
And so we're going to have a 5-day Jumpstart, where we're going to help you build momentum by taking strategic and impactful steps toward regaining a foundation of your lifestyle. So that's going to begin on February 14th. And so put in the comments, yes, and we
Valentine's
will
Day.
get the information to you. It is complimentary, it is free, and it's going to be fun. Our goal is to have, a place where people can come and be inspired to begin and create momentum toward their best life, and remedying things that seem severed or broken, and so that's where we're beginning.
Doesn't that sound just so good?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Remedying things that just feel broken, because you're not broken, really. It's
No,
not, you're not broken. It's
no.
just things feel broken and you know it. That's the thing. Your internal self says something is off. I don't really want it to be off, because when it's on, I feel so good. So that's what we want to get back to that. I love that. So on Valentine's Day, hence the heart, we
Yes.
start. So drop
Because
us a note.
so self-care is part of self-love. It's one of the three prongs, right?
Hmm.
And it's an easy place for us to start because it's something that we can get tangible results from immediately, which helps us feel successful.
Great. Well, as soon as you feel like you've made some traction, which you will,
Yes.
that you see that there's, it's always a start of like those little moments. It's like a defining moment. It's weird because you by yourself will not, may not hit you to do something that will actually be the catalyst, because you yourself don't see that thing that you need to just get going. And I know for me, I always felt like I had to pick some big thing, some big major thing has to happen for all the motion to start. And a funny thing is that when Chiki and I had done this, had a few talks before, it was just like, you know what? All right, let's just get up and walk. Just get up and walk. Go walking. And like, all right, I'm gonna walk every day. It's like, no, all right, let's be reasonable. What's the one thing you're gonna do? Like, are you gonna walk every day? I'm like, probably not. Like, all right, so let's not do that.
Right.
I'm like,
I remember that
yeah, let's
conversation.
not. Like, right? Let's just start with like,
Yes.
can you walk tomorrow?
So what part of the problem that we have in creating our own momentum without any guidance is that we tend to have expectations of ourselves that are unreasonable. And not that you shouldn't have high expectations. However, when you're just beginning, the expectation of going from 0 to 1,000 in 2 seconds is just it's a bit it can actually lead you to spiraling into the opposite direction of where you want to go, because then you don't feel successful if you don't hit this mark. I'm working
Again.
with
And
someone
the word again follows that. I don't feel successful again.
again. Ugh, yes.
It's like
I'm working
another
with someone
layer.
right now who said, I'm going to work, she said something similar to what you said, that she was going to start walking every day, and she's going to do at least 4 or 5 times a week. And, like from jump, this is going from 0.
Uh,
And I said to her, I understand that you're motivated, and don't, just understand that I get that, and I'm here for it, and your motivation is amazing. But how about these walks are going to be hour-long walks every day. I'm like, okay, how about we start with taking one bite of the meal and
right.
chewing it to completion and then swallowing.
How about that?
And then we say, how does that feel?
Yeah.
Right? And we can do that with our lives. We take a step and we into the direction of something that we know we desire, and we feel it, we let it cover us, we step into it fully, completely. That in itself will build momentum. But if you set your height of your goal so big that only success can only be gained if you are walking an hour a day every day of the week, then anything short of that is failure. And that's how you'll perceive it in your subconscious. And then that will play out in your emotions, and that will play out in your actions, and you will not be successful because you'll give up.
You won't celebrate anything, because if you haven't hit that 15-mile walk, and you did 10, you still feel like you failed. Like,
Right.
so it's just, yeah, no.
That's the same. And it's not just about lifestyle. I mean, we're talking about lifestyle because it's what we do.
It's your wheelhouse.
But
Sure.
also, it could be anything.
Mhm.
So we can also use this 5-day kickstart to actually start momentum in anything. So know that even joining us, and if your lifestyle is in order, but there's something else that you need to do, the same skills and the same small steps that we're taking will be a catalyst for creating momentum in any area of your life.
Yeah.
Right? Because these are habits of successful people. These are habits of people who are in alignment, right? And that's what's required. So anything that you're not getting that you desire, it's because you're not aligned with it. You're not energetically aligned. You're not vibrating at its frequency. There's some resistance around it on some level. And so what's required is for you to align, because it's never about doing more. It's
No.
about allowing more.
150%. I like
Yeah.
that. That's just that line right there. It's never about doing more.
Yeah.
It's about aligning more. It's about being aligned with things you can celebrate. You know,
Yeah.
every single time you celebrate, it's just such a that's where momentum that's how momentum feels. It's celebration after celebration after like, oh, look at I did this. I got here. I I I put this away. I mastered this or yeah.
That's
And
right.
every single step feels like a victory.
Yes.
And that's why you keep on going because if it feels like a victory, it's like there's no reason why you would want to stop.
Yes.
Really, it keeps feeling
Wins,
so good.
wins all
Feels
over the
good,
freaking place. This is what I'm saying.
right?
So yeah, 100,000%. You and I are in alignment. And so, let's do this. Let's do this with an air of levity.
Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
this with an air of and a feeling and an energy of success already, of love for self as our motivation, as purpose, aligning with our
Yeah.
purpose as our motivation, knowing that we're here to do some things or else we wouldn't be here. We're here to do something that is only in our power to do the way we
Mm,
are designed to complete it. And so aligning ourselves with our heart's desires is going to allow us to be in alignment and resonating with our purpose. And so that's our goal, right?
yeah,
So
love that.
yes.
We'd love to have you join us. Yes.
So that is actually what we wanted to say today. It's really just about sharing with you that it's never too late to begin. I posted a video on Instagram the other day of a woman. She was on a skateboard and she's probably about maybe 65, 70 years old. Life, if you're still here on the planet, then more life is beckoning. More life is beckoning. There are things that we put on the side. We may be delayed for our families. We may be delayed because we thought that we needed to give another focus because we needed to make money. There are things that we want to do that we maybe didn't even think we deserved to have.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that bring us joy that we've put on the back burner for whatever ABC reason. And so what we're desiring is to bring those things back to the forefront, because now is life. And so what is it for you? Is it gardening? Is it playing with your dog on the floor? Is it cooking again, right? What is it? Is it playing the piano? Is it singing? Is it art? Is it painting? Is it drawing? Like, are
Ever.
these gifts and talents that you've been given that you're not expressing? And could it be part of the reason that you're not feeling fulfilled?
Mm-hmm.
Creativity is one of the least, it's kind of the underrated part of our lifestyle that contributes the most to our happiness. We're creative beings. And
Which
so
is funny because a lot of people say I'm not creative. Like, oh no.
oh, I hear that all the time. I'm like, okay. So I get that that's your current perception. So when did you start believing that? Because I know every kid I've ever met believes that they're an artist and they can do anything until they're
Anything.
about 8. And then they start to think that they can't do things.
Mm,
So
right.
when you started believing that, it's okay because it served you for whatever time. But now let's revisit our beliefs and say, okay, is that really true? Am I really not creative? Well, I tell you what, you're creating your life every day. Every time you make food, you're creating.
Right.
every time you wake up and you make a decision, you're creating. And so, starting to spark this little creativity, you can start with something simple. Like, say you used to paint all the time. You could start by just getting yourself a sketchbook, and just doodling while you're on the phone, or while you're whatever free time you have. 10 minutes a day doodling. It might be, I'll tell you a story, a short story. So I had the privilege of doing a talk at the Boca West Hospital, and in this workshop, it's called Elevate, and it's really geared toward helping people to elevate their lives by aligning their light with their life and their heart's desires. And so I did this for the staff and the patients there, and one of the people in that workshop, he's in his 60s, and he has COPD, which a lot of times COPD can carry with it kind of a stigma and a energy of self-loathing, because
Yep.
it's self-created, and they know that their habits directly impacted their health in a way that limits their ability to be fully expressed in their lives. And so let's call this gentleman Joe. So Joe and I had this conversation. I wanted Joe to leave the workshop feeling inspired to live again.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that when we don't feel inspired to live, it absolutely affects every relationship we have, the one with ourselves, the one with our partners, and it affects the quality of our work, everything. So I know, and Joe's wife and partner was there as well. And I could tell that they were trying to keep home life in the pocket and not share everything. But even the energy that I got from how they communicated, there was a disconnect, and there was an energy of kind of frenzied and discord, because she was trying so hard to help him live and feel good about himself, that she was overdoing and doing things for him that was actually taking away from his ability to actually be expressed in the limited way he felt he could. So
Right.
and he let her, so she was overdoing for him, and he wasn't actually even doing things like making his food or getting dressed, or those little things that make a man feel manly or a woman feel in charge of her life. Like when you
Right.
feel independent and can do things for self, even though they're small and seemingly, I always do air quotes, nothing we do as spiritual beings is small, but let's
Right.
just say they're small in relative, right? In relative terms.
Right.
So these little things. And so we started that conversation. And then I realized that he was, withholding and using laughter and levity and joking to kind of protect himself. And so I asked him to just relinquish his guard, and let's talk a real conversation. I knew he used this technique with everyone, and everyone went along with it. And I asked him, now you're talking to someone different. You're talking to someone who sees you. I feel you. I hear your heart, and it's crying. So let's talk for real now. What is it, Joe, that your heart desires to do? And he kind of started crying a little, which is really sweet and just really beautiful to see someone just be able to just tap in a little bit, to something that they've been missing. And he said, "Well, I used to play baseball." He said, "I played all the way up until about 2 years prior to the workshop." And he said then the symptoms started getting so bad he couldn't make it to the field. He kept losing his breath.
Mm.
And I could tell how heavy this was for him. And I said, "Okay, so baseball, it's what you love, it's what you miss." He played as a boy. It was connected to his relationship with his father, who he missed, and of doing it on a regular basis made him feel more connected to his dad and his family, and made him feel whole,
Right.
right? And so this was really important to Joe. So I asked him to do a brainstorm of what the things that he could do that would bring baseball back into his life in a way that would allow him to participate with his heart. And he thought, well, watching it is good, and maybe, and then he just felt stuck. So my offering was this: how about getting a Wii? Getting a Wii is something that you don't have to travel for. You don't have to walk long distances. You can rest when you need to, and not kind of submit yourself to this feeling of being um, embarrassed for not being able to do, and also, not
Mhm.
sink into this self-loathing and self-pitying kind of mindset. You can
Mm.
just rest, and you could re-enter whenever you like.
Right.
And it creates an energy in your home of vibrancy. When you're
Right.
standing up and you're so focused, it takes you out of your head. You're in it with your body, which is really important, right? Being immersed in something with your body helps you to get out of your head and feel alive.
Yeah.
And that's the connection to the body that we really want to honor and nurture. So often we have this connection with our body that says that's our identity, like it's who we are, versus just it's a vehicle for a life experience.
Yeah.
And so what I find is people are so deeply connected to the identity of the body as who they are, but disconnected from self. And so the goal is then to flip that on its head and say, okay, I want to feel really connected to self and unattached to body, honoring it as my vehicle, but unattached to it and allowing it to transform as it will in time and space. So Joe got so excited. He said, "Oh, I can like kind of feel like I'm playing." He was like, "That's a great idea." And you could see he's got life and joviality, and
Yep.
not even joviality is even a word, like just this kind of excitement about living again. And so we rolled with that idea. We took it and took it and took it. So then I helped him design a plan for actually implementing. Because what happens is when we get excited about an idea, it's great in the moment, but then when you get
But
home, you don't
then
actually
what?
do it. Right. So the key is when you're inspired, you take action. Right. The universe responds to immediacy, to speed. So
Right.
when you're inspired, follow it. Follow the nudge right away. Right. We
Inspired
might have
action
an
is the most
agenda.
powerful action.
Yes. We might have an agenda or a plan in our minds about how we should do something, and it should be A, B, C, D in this order. But then we feel heartfully like a inspiration to like go to the store or go get a book or go do something, go call someone, and we ignore it because we're doing this plan.
Yes, I've got tasks to do.
Right? Task to complete. I'll do that later, and then the thing doesn't happen. When you're inspired, follow it, because it's the things that are intangible are the most essential in our lives. They're the things that are telling us what our heart really desires and what will give us the most benefit and
Mm.
benefit. And when I say that us, I mean globally us and us as the individual within the whole. Right? It's always that. It's always the very best and highest nurturing and expansive thing that we're given. And so we don't always, and we can't always see around the corner, and we can't always see the ripples of the
Right.
thing. So we have to just trust it, have faith that that's the thing. Listen to your intuition, do the thing now. So we set up a little plan for Joe, and with support and accountability, so it got done. Right. So Joe is now playing baseball in his Wii with his Wii every day.
So good.
Right.
So good.
So what is your Wii? What is your thing that you are passionate about, or that would ignite some living energy into your life right now?
Yeah.
What could spark your kind of excitement about who you are and what you're doing and what you're creating? So this is what this moment is about. The things that are coming to your mind right now that you're not saying, say them and then write them down, and then think of one small action that you can take toward it. So I'll tell you what I started. So I had this kind of thing about water. I never really swam. My mom said that when I was a kid, she put me in swimming lessons, and I kept getting ear infections. So I never learned proper technique for swimming. So I actually was thrown in the pool then when I had no skills and almost drowned. So
Yeah.
that further put up walls of resistance between the
Sure.
water and I. But the water, it is 70% of this body that I traveled the earth in. It is 1%, of the body of, you know, of the planet. 97% of the planet actually surface is water, right? And then, it's in the atmosphere. It's water is everywhere.
Yeah.
So to not have a relationship with water is to not really be fully living, I believe. Not for me. I need to complete that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kept getting these inklings about swimming, and I kept passing this swimming school. And
Ooh.
it caught my eye because my heart was asking for it. It knew it knew it's what I needed. So I went there one day, and it was closed. So then I got inspired. I went, I looked, I got inspired again. I just made the phone call, I booked the appointment, and now I'm swimming.
I love that.
Right? Now, I tell you what, the new dimension of movement has been open to me. A new dimension of living and moving in my body and being and fluid and being fluid, which is part of my nature, is open to me. It was a whole new world. And I in this process, I actually wrote a book, which it's being published soon. It'll be out soon. That actually has a lot to do with water. And I think part of that inspiration writing in writing the book also led me to then actually do it in life.
Right.
But I tell you what, there are patterns in swimming that you don't experience on land because they're not required.
Right.
Gravity is here and that's it. We kind of live in this we can move ourselves in different planes of motion, but gravity is always acting downward. In the pool, there's another level of freedom you experience when you're thrusting and you're traversing through liquid. I mean, you can spin around upside down. You can go deeper. You can come to the surface all in a single bound, right? You can spin around. You can breathe in, breathe out. I mean, you can blow bubbles. You know how excited I get about bubbles. I mean, come on.
Good.
It's amazing. So also there are motions. So in movement there are patterns there are 6 or 7, arguably 12 human movement patterns. I say about 6 that we can narrow it down to. Other things can fall into subcategories within those 6. So in those movement patterns, there is this kind of work moving through the transverse plane. There is and through the sagittal plane, we have a connection of the upper and lower body through the core, and we have rotation, right? So the combination of this kind of reaching and this activation of our core and connecting to the lower body in coordination in this backstroke, right? I felt a deeper connection to my transverse abdominis, to my deep pelvic muscles than I've ever felt in my entire life.
Wow.
It was movement is my thing. It's my jam. It's what I do. So, this right here, it felt like there were little spaces within myself that were being connected for the first time, probably since birth, when we were in liquid the first time.
Wow.
And I said, "What? Yeah, exactly." I was like, "Wow." And what also happened is that I think in following that inspiration, before I got into the water, I think the time frame allowed me to actually release any resistance that I had about the water. And when I jumped in, I had no fear. I felt unified.
Mm-hmm.
And from the day one, even before I actually had the skill set of the actual form of like freestyle, I'm learning butterfly. So let me tell you about the first time I did butterfly. I had spontaneous woos, woo, like coming out. I was like, this is amazing. My whole body is moving. My feet. I mean, just it was like, when else do you get to like leap up into the air out of the water and you crash down and you leap up, and it was amazing. So I just had literally spontaneous woos all over the place. I couldn't stop. It was amazing.
I love that.
And this is like 9:00 in the morning. Like it was amazing. So I just offer that this is how we could feel every day. That right there is living. That's how life should feel. It's not a continuous feeling of woo, but it's feeling alive.
Mm.
It can be our existence. And sometimes we tend to think like miracles are these things that happen once in a while when we're really in desperation, but miracles are life, you know? And so when we're vibing in synchronicity, listening to the nudges, following our intuition, we become and kind of aligned with flow.
Mhm.
And in this flow, it's this creative flow, it's this flow of spirit, it's this flow of our hearts, and that can be our life. The challenge most people face is in trusting it. And then trusting that that's okay to do, and it's enough, and that it's going to get us what we need as far as money is concerned, as far as taking care of our family is concerned, as far as our idea of success being achieved is concerned. But what is more successful? What can possibly be a higher level of connectivity with our purpose than feeling fully alive in everything
Mm.
we do?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the ultimate.
Yes. And so that's what I'm asking of us. I'm asking us to move toward that.
Mhm.
Even if you aren't able to be in that today, let's find a way. Let's find an entry point. Let's find a place that we want to even dip our toes in the pool before we dive,
Yeah.
you know. And then there will come a day where we say, you know what, we're diving. Right, so when we're dipping in is when we're kind of getting prepared, we're setting up our lifestyle in a way that serves us, we're doing all the little things that really support the overall goal, and then we dive
And then we
and we
dive
trust.
because it feels good.
Yes, and
Not because
feeling
someone
good.
says you're supposed to, not because
Yes,
someone says you have to do this in order to that. No, it's like
yes,
because it already feels good
yes,
and feels right, and we just build more of that. It's to the
yes,
point where you're just like, "Give me all you got, because
yes.
this is so good." Right.
My goal is to live this life completely naked and free. I want to fly and sprint and dive in and gush and love and be excited and feel the sadness when it comes, and then let it go, and then be in my peace and
Mhm.
continue to live this way, alive, present to every moment, right? And so we can do that, and we can do that, and it helps to be in community with other people who have the same like goal, to be fully honest, fully present, fully surrendered, in this space of creation of our lives on purpose. So this
Community
is
of sames, in that sense of being the same.
yes.
Yeah.
So let's bring this in for landing, right? So I feel like we've said a lot, and shared a lot, and I'm excited.
Thank you for sharing that. That was really good to hear that and to see your excitement. It it further illustrates the point of just
Yeah.
going with your gut says,
Yes.
like, inspired action. It
Yes.
was like, "I'm inspired, I'm gonna take the action," and then it was the right action because look at you yelling, "Whoo," as
Oh
you're
my goodness.
butterflying, like,
Oh my goodness.
right?
Oh my goodness. So, okay, so let's recap shortly. So, quickly rather. So we have February 14th. We're gonna do a free 5-day lifestyle jumpstart, where we'll lead you through a simple process of igniting momentum in your lifestyle, so that you begin to align with your heart's desire and your abundance of healthy wealth, right? And so that's number one. And then number two, we're going to be back here next week, same bat channel, same bat time, around 7 o'clock Eastern time. And we'll give you more details on that. But meanwhile, if you want to be included, then just put yes down in the comments, and we'll be sure to get you into our area where we'll be launching. And we're excited. And
And, if you're
just
not feeling the yes in the comment and you feel like, "I just wanna send a private message,"
yes.
go ahead and do that too, because that is all good as well.
Yes, 100%. You don't have to broadcast if you don't want to, no problem.
Yeah.
Um, and then finally, I'll just say, you are more than enough.
Mm.
You are far more than enough. You're not just enough. You are necessary to the unfoldment of the cosmos. Your genius is required for us to continue to ascend as a species, for the world to become that which we want it to become, and a place of love and connection and inspired action and creativity, and this kind of space for us to raise children in that is more than just a dream. We can have the reality we desire if we
Mm.
become the reality that we were designed to be.
Yeah, and we're designed to be all the things because we're amazingly made. There is no other creature, creation, anywhere in the world of everything that is designed to be you except for you. So with that, you get to have the blast of fun, of inspired action all the time so that you can just live it out and live it out. You deserve the happiness. You deserve to feel aligned. You deserve to feel all of that. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that's all I have for today.
So we will see you same bad
When?
channel, same bad time next week.
Next Sunday, right? Next
Next
week, right
Sunday,
here.
7 p.m. We love
Join
you.
us.
And we're out. Bye.